So today we will talk about bounded sets and we define what a bounded set. What do we mean by a bounded set? Let's take a set, subset of R, and suppose if there is a real number such that we have this thing x less than or equal to b for each x in x, then this b is known as, this b is called an upper bound of set x. And any set yeah, let me rephrase it in this way, that if x has an upper bound, then x is called or known as called a bounded from above set, or just a bounded from above. X is called, or x is known as a bounded from above. Or x is said to be, better would be to call it, x is said to be bounded from above. So likewise we define a set which is bounded from above, below, but for that if a is any real number or such that a is less than or equal to x for each x in x, that is, it is smaller than every element of the set x, then this a is given a name, then a is said to be a lower bound of x. And if x has a lower bound, then x is said to be bounded from below. So I'm defining a set to be a bounded below if it has a lower bound. I'm putting the condition that if it has, because we will see that there are sets which may or may not have lower bounds or upper bounds. For example, look at this set. Uh, let us look at this set 1 infinity. Then there is no real number in R for which I have this condition x less than or equal to b for all x in this interval 1 infinity. It has no upper bound because no number is these elements of this set are not bounded by any cannot be bounded by any element. So that means this set doesn't have a any upper bound. So if it doesn't have any upper bound, then this set is said to be a set which is not bounded from above, and this is called a unbounded from above. And likewise, you consider the set minus infinity and let it be some any 2 here, then you see that it is not bounded from below. Okay, it's not bounded from below. Why? Because no element is there which is smaller than every element of this set, this open interval minus infinity 2. Let me give another name, another definition, another term to you, that is known as a set x, which is a subset of real numbers, is said to be a bounded set, if it is both bounded from above and bounded from below. So that means the sets that are there in this example, the open interval 1 infinity and another open interval minus infinity 2, these are not bounded sets, because they are not, even though 1 infinity is bounded from below by 1, and it's not bounded from above, so it's not a bounded set. And likewise, this set minus infinity 2 is bounded from above, but it's not bounded from below, so it's also not a bounded set. And a set which is not bounded is known as an unbounded set. A set which is not bounded is said to be unbounded. So these are the examples of unbounded sets. Let us look at some of the examples of the bounded sets. If I consider a set, let this be an example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then look at this. 4 is bigger than all the elements of this set, so 4 is an upper bound. And similarly 5, 6, so on, all these natural numbers are upper bounds of this set. These are upper bounds of X. And the thing that you get from here, this example, is that this set has an upper bound. And another thing that we have this clearance that a set, it is not necessary that a set has only one upper bound. Indeed, if a set has one upper bound, it has infinitely many upper bounds. So it has infinitely many upper bounds. Same is true with lower bounds, and the lower bounds of this set are 0. -1 is also lower bound, because -1 is smaller than all the elements of this set. 0 is smaller than all the elements of this set. -2. All these sets are lower bounds. Lower bounds of X. So this was not true. This is not something that which is true only for this set. Indeed, if you take any finite set, any non-empty finite set, that is a set which is bounded set. This is a finite set because it has upper bound and it has lower bound also. So any finite non-empty set is bounded set. It's a bounded set. And the same way, it can be proved that it is a non-empty finite set, because if you have this, let X be a non-empty finite set. If it is a finite set, you very well know that the elements of finite set can be kept in the form of a sequence an, and also we can order them in the increasing order. Let X is equal to D and be such that its elements are in the increasing order, A1 less than A2 less than so on up to an. Okay, since they are in this set, and we are not allowed to repeat the elements, so that's why I assume that these are the distinct elements, so they will have this increasing order. Then clearly an is upper bound for X, and look at a1 is smaller than all the elements. A1 is lower bound for X. So this set has upper bound and a lower bound, so it is bounded from above as well as bounded from below, hence it is a bounded set. No issue. But in case of infinite sets, the infinite sets may not be bounded. Every infinite set may not be bounded. If you look at the set that we just gave here, this example, A infinity, this is an infinite set. This is an infinite interval. It's an infinite set also. Is not bounded. So the same thing from finite sets to infinite sets doesn't carry. That means boundedness from is there in the finite set, but it may not be in infinite sets. But yes, there are classes of infinite sets which are bounded. The first among them is the finite intervals. Let us take a and b be two real numbers. Then any sort of interval, whether it is closed interval, whether it is open interval, or whether it is semi-open or semi-closed, they all are bounded sets. They all are bounded sets. So let me begin with this. I don't. You don't need to put larger proofs. By definition, if X is an element of this set AB, then the definition of this interval says that it has to be, since it is a closed interval, it has to be greater than or equal to X and less than or equal to B. So every element of this closed interval AB satisfies this inequality, and this inequality is the first left half of this inequality implies that this A is lower bound of this set AB, and the second half of this inequality implies that B is bigger than every element of this interval, means B is upper bound. B is upper bound. So this set has upper bound as well as lower bound, hence it is a bounded set. Hence this interval AB is bounded. And by the same argument, you prove that this open interval, because in case of open interval, the inequality will be replaced by strict inequality, and again that A and B will work as upper bound and lower bound and upper bound respectively for the open interval AB, and same for the semi-open and semi-closed interval. So these intervals are bounded sets. Now the one thing that we saw here is that a set, if it has upper bound or if it has a lower bound, then it has infinitely many lower bounds. If it has a lower bound, and if it has an upper bound, it will have infinitely many lower bounds. What we want to show, what we want to now restrict ourselves to, we want to restrict ourselves to those upper bounds, to that upper bound which is smallest among all, and we will also restrict ourselves to the lower bound which is greatest among all, and that is known as supremum of a set X. X is a subset of R, and let me call this in this way: a real number U is said to be least upper bound, or it is also called supremum of X, if the first thing that this U needs to be an upper bound. The first thing that is that U needs to be a upper bound for X, and the second thing to be it a supremum or a least is that if you have any other upper bound, if U prime is another upper bound, it is another upper bound of X, then as I said, it has to be, U needs to be least, then U has to be less than or equal to U prime. Likewise, we define another term that is known as infimum of X, and infimum of X has to be the greatest lower bound. Infimum of X, I will write it as a L, a real number, is said to be greatest lower bound or infimum of X if, again, The first requirement for it to be an infimum is that it needs to be lower bound. It needs to be lower bound of X. And the second, if you have L prime is another, if L prime is another lower bound of X, then L has L needs to be greatest, means that L prime is less than or equal to L. So that means among the infimum, no lower bound is bigger than that infimum, and among the supremum, no upper bound is smaller than the supremum. Okay, and the notations for supremum is this notation. Let me this supremum u is also denoted as supremum of X, and the infimum is given this notation infimum X. The supremum is also sometimes written as LUBX, least upper bound, and this infimum is also denoted as GLBX, greatest lower bound of X. And then this if any set which has this supremum, or if it has an infimum, then these numbers are always uniqueness. Let me establish this thing first, and then we will go to some examples. Uniqueness of supremum and infimum of a set X. When I say that I'm proving it to be unique, and then I assume that the supremum of that set exists. So let us assume that U be a supremum of X. Okay, not supremum. Let me write in a different way this thing. I have to establish the uniqueness, and we suppose that there are two supremums. Suppose that U and U prime are greatest lower bounds for X. Then by definition of greatest lower bound, then by definition U is upper bound. It has to be upper bound, and since U prime is greatest, not sorry, I am talking greatest lower bound. No, I have, okay, I'm doing it for greatest lower bound, so it has to be lower bound then. Okay, let it be. Then by definition U has to be lower bound, and since U prime is greatest lower bound among them, hence if it is greatest lower bound, and so this implies that U being lower bound and U prime being greatest lower bound implies that U is less than or equal to U prime. And now likewise by definition, since U prime is greatest lower bound, so it is a lower bound also. U prime is lower bound, and now we apply the definition of a lower bound of U, and since U is greatest lower bound, then but the definition says that any other lower bound has to be smaller than the greatest lower bound. So now U is a greatest lower bound and U prime is a lower bound, so U prime is less than or equal to U. Let me call this equation first and equation second. If you look at equation 1, inequality 1 and inequality second, you get that U is same as U prime. So that this implies that infimum of a set which is a greatest lower bound, if it exists, then it is a unique. Similarly, you can show that this supremum of a set, if it exists, then it is unique. Now let's go to some examples, and not an example, I'm going to establish this thing that supremum of this closed interval AB is B, and its infimum is A. Okay, so we already know that A and B are bounds for this closed interval, and let us first establish that this B is actually the supremum. Now, for supremum, I need two conditions, that B needs to be upper bound. First thing, B is upper bound. This is always true. B is upper bound since you have this every element of this interval is less than or equal to B, so B is upper bound. The next thing that let us choose, let U prime be another upper bound for this interval AB. Then by definition of an upper bound, x has to be less than or equal to U prime for all x in AB. But look at this AB interval. B is an element of this interval also. So in particular, for x equals to B, B will be less than or equal to U prime. And this is what is the requirement for B to be a supremum. Likewise, you can prove that infimum of this closed interval AB is A. Okay, so for any closed interval, infimum is the end point, left end point, and the supremum is the right end point. Now let's look at the open interval, case of open interval. In case of open interval also, the infimum is A and supremum is B. Okay, so I'm going to establish this, that infimum is A, supremum, the case for supremum will be left for verification. And let us first thing, clearly A is a lower bound. A is a lower bound for this open interval AB. Why it is? Because by definition A is less than X for all element in this interval AB. This is the definition of interval, because that every element is bigger than the left hand point interval. So by definition A is a lower bound. Next, let suppose that this A is not greatest lower bound. If it is not greater, and the greatest lower bound be another element, and let us take another upper bound, another of AB, such that this lower bound is greater than A. We want this lower bound to be that will make a greatest lower bound, but suppose on the contrary, not the case happens, then clear